Just what will it take for the government to rein in on rogue contractors as another day, another building has tumbled? This as Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi talks tough on the building's owner. We have that in a few, but first let's have a look at the highlights. Tonight, a new day, a new building down. Man and wife perish after a building came tumbling down in Rwaka.
Firstborn wa huyu mzee mwenye ameaffectwa na mama yangu pia. Unfortunately, wako confirmed wako.
The county government talking tough.
Nchi wengi wamekosa kutii sheria ambayo imewekwa, especially haswa wawekezaji na pia watu wenyeji wakati wanajenga. Kuna utaratibu ambao unafaa kufuatwa.
With the latest incident bringing to 7 the buildings that have collapsed since June. Mount Kenya MPs defy President William Ruto in EALA race, with Kanini Kega getting a nod to join Kennedy Musyoka and Winnie Odinga in the Azimio La Umoja lineup. Chaotic scenes in Eldoret town as residents take advantage of a confrontation between county askaris and hawkers to loot businesses. Well, good evening once more. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Catherine Simaloi. 2 people, a man and his wife, have been confirmed dead and one hospitalized in Kiambu Level 5 Hospital in an early morning tragedy in Rwaka town after a 5-story building which was under construction collapsed. And as Lucky Heriano now tells us, county governments are on the spot with today's incident bringing to 7 the number of buildings that have collapsed in Nairobi and its environs. Have a look.
Harrowing scenes at the site of the 5-story building that was reduced to rubble in Rwaka this morning. The 3:30 a.m. incident that occurred at the Joyland area along the old Rwaka road claimed the lives of 2, a couple which was asleep at the iron sheet house adjacent to the construction site.
Huyu mzee mwenye ameaffectwa na mama yangu pia. Unfortunately, wako confirmed wako. So nilisikia tu mlio. So I thought labda kuna trailer imeanguka ama kitu kama hiyo kulingana na ile mlio ilikuwa hapo. So nikakuwa curious nikatoka. Kustukia mimi nimeona nyumba ndio imeanguka na imeangukia of course nyumba ya madhe.
At the scene, relatives of the deceased struggled to come terms with the loss of their loved ones.
Na waadhiriwa ni ndugu yangu na bibi yake. Ndio sasa wanajaribu kutolewa.
Today's collapse coming barely 2 months after 5 people lost their lives in Kirigiti near Kiambu town after a 7-story building under construction collapsed. The governor now disbanding the county planning and approval board following now rampant cases of collapsing buildings.
Lakini tuko na pia na waziri wenye anasimamia hiyo kazi ya ujenzi kutoka serikali ya county na wametujulisha kwamba hilo nyumba lilikuwa lishasimamishwa ujenzi kutoka mwezi wa Mei, na hiyo nyumba ilikuwa iko condemned. Mara mingi wameshikwa kupelekwa kwenye kule kwa polisi, wakitoka wanarudi mjengo tena. Tumepata shida siku ya leo kwa vile mama mmoja ambaye aliumia amepelekwa hospitali. Tumepata maafa pia kwa vile kunaye mzee pamoja na bibi yake.
While at the same time asking the judiciary to collaborate with other authorities to curb the rogue contractors and investors who usually rush to the courts to acquire anticipatory bails to enable them evade arrest after their sites are closed by construction inspection authorities.
Hii ni vita sasa ambaye lazima ichukuliwe kwa njia tofauti na serikali yetu ya county. Kwa vile wananchi wengi wamekosa kutii sheria ambayo imewekwa, especially haswa wawekezaji na pia watu wenyeji wakati wanajenga. Kuna utaratibu ambao unafaa kufuatwa, lakini kwa kujieleza na kujiambia, wananchi wengi wamekuwa wakosa kuelewa ya kwamba hii jinsi ya kuendelea na mjengo kama hii bila kuidhinishwa, bila kukaguliwa, inahatarisha maisha ya watu wetu.
At the moment, the contractor of the ill-fated building is on the run, with the multi-agency search and rescue mission failing to yield more fruits.
Mbili, upande wa serikali yetu na upande wa wananchi. Kwa vile sasa pia sisi lazima tuchukue nafasi na hatua tofauti kuhakikisha kwamba mtu yeyote ambaye anaendeleza mjengo bila idhini na bila stakabadhi zinazofaa, sasa hatua itakuwa tofauti.
Today's collapse coming even before the dust settles on the collapsed building in Kasarani that claimed the lives of 3 people. This joining the growing list of buildings that have come tumbling down this year. The National Construction Authority (NCA) attributed over 80% of all incidents of collapsed building in the country to poor workmanship. Lakeriano reporting for TV47.
Now, vendors and counties carries faced off in Eldoret was engaged today after a bid by the latter to remove them from the CBD turned chaotic. Street children and other residents took advantage of the melee to loot nearby shops and supermarkets. Parked vehicles were not spared either, as a section of the street kids could be seen making way with other people's belongings. Police were forced to intervene to quell the standoff.
Cheki generator, woi! Hello? Poa sana vipi?
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission now says political interference is the biggest impediment in fighting corruption. Chairperson at Bishop Eliud Wabukala seemingly displeased with the move by the DPP to withdraw high-profile corruption cases. Chichi Josephine with more.
The war on corruption seems to be one of the Kenya's biggest elephants in the room, with the biggest headache being the getting convictions on corruption cases brought before the courts. The EACC saying they still face a huge burden in getting information. Recently, the Director of Public Prosecution made applications to drop corruption cases of some of allies of the incoming government, a move that raised heated debate. EACC Chair Archbishop Eliud Wabukala seemingly calling out the DPP for dropping the war on corruption ball. According to Wabukala, political interference and witness threatening remain the biggest impediment in ridding the country of the vice.
There are challenges we meet in terms of dealing with corrupt people at the high level. It may be interference with the witnesses. It may be because of influence that people have. It may be political intimidation. But all the same, we have the law behind us, and the law is professionally being undertaken to deal with whatever cases.
At the moment, the Commission has concluded over 500 corruption-related cases.
All the cases, whether small or big, are able, ACC is able to deal with them.
Meanwhile, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC has trained senior officials of agricultural-based cooperative societies on integrity and good governance in a bid to tame corruption.
The objectives of the cooperative sector have a strong linkage with the mandate of the EACC, particularly in promotion of good governance and ethical practices through prevention of instances of corruption.
In the past, there have been concerns over corruption and weak management structures of a number of cooperatives, which leads to misappropriation of funds, poor business planning, unrealistic and conflicting goals and targets.
In the last 2 years, the Commission has received and processed 52 complaints touching on cooperatives in the agricultural sector, of which 32 complaints were on allegations of maladministration, while the others related to abuse of office, embezzlement of funds, fraudulent acquisition of public property, and irregular disposal of public property.
EACC Commissioner Alfred Mushimba said the once insignificant cooperative movement, which was seen as a refuge for struggling smallholder farmers, has turned out to be the vehicle that has driven growth of the subsector.
Good morning, everyone.
Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Now, as the war in the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to worsen decades later, the Kenya Defence Forces is working in tandem with local forces to bring back normalcy. Last week, Kenya deployed troops to eastern Congo to join an Eastern African regional force tasked with ending decades of bloodshed.
The Kenya Defence Forces has vowed to protect the strategic Goma airport in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, from possible attacks as rebels advance in a battle with Congolese forces.
We are here to protect and defend the Goma International Airport, including the force headquarters.
In a joint press briefing, Kenyan and Congolese forces said the troops who belong to the East African Regional Force are ready to defend the civilian areas from war through the political process and diplomacy. This comes a day after former President Uhuru Kenyatta called on for urgent intervention in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where fighting between the army and M23 rebels has flared again in the last week, causing hundreds to flee their homes.
War does not necessarily bring peace. You have to pursue diplomacy.
President Kenyatta, who made an official visit to Goma on November 15th, decried the misery and the cycle of conflict by armed groups that he says has been inflicted on innocent men, women, children, and the elderly. During his visit, the former head of state witnessed firsthand tens of thousands of internally displaced persons on the roadsides and the adverse effects of the violence caused by M23 rebels and other armed groups.
We have over 120 armed groups within DRC, and they have instigated significant degree of insecurity.
Uhuru Kenyatta has been on a peacekeeping mission across the African region after being appointed by President William Ruto. Nairobi has since sent its troops to join their counterparts drawn from Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, and Uganda in restoring peace in Eastern DRC. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Well, moving on, Education CS Ezekiel Machogu says the government will deliver credible national examinations. Machogu says the examinations set to start on November 28, 2022 will be guarded to ensure cheating does not occur. And as our senior education reporter Sharon Baranga now tells us, Machogu's first test comes at a time when exam cheats are devising new ways of engaging in the vice.
It is that season where candidates are set to sit for their national examinations. And apart from the KCPE and KCSE examinations that Kenyans have been used to for more than 30 years under the 844 curriculum, this year there is a new cohort, grade 6 learners who will be sitting for Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KEPSEA, which will enable them transition to grade 7. And the government says it's all systems go.
Give an assurance to the entire country that we are well prepared for this year's exam, and we have been able to send out the papers to the 493 distribution and storage centers in each and every part of the country.
Like previous years, the government has adopted a multi-sectoral approach to ensure critical players tackle the administration process, and hopefully this will enhance smooth management of the national examinations. Parents on their part say measures should be put in place to ensure all learners get their deserving grades.
Our teachers have always been there for us, and also our parents are supporting us in each and every way possible.
Na tunaomba kuwa serikali ijitahidi sana kwa kuwasaidia wale wanafunzi ambao hawapati chakula za kutosha wakija shuleni, ndio wanafunzi waziwe na any interaction wakati wanafanya mtihani.
Na kifika sasa kama ni hii wakati ya mtihani, walimu wamejitahidi, wamefanya kazi yao, na saa hii sasa ni tuone the effort ya mtoto mwenyewe.
We are also sending the security personnel to man each and every center, and this time round we want to give that assurance to the Kenyans that the integrity process will not be compromised, everything will be credible.
Already 2 people have been arrested with fake examination materials which they were intending to sell to candidates. This as a section of teachers believe that the candidates will be exam ready on time. This year, 3.4 million candidates will be sitting for the 3 national examinations. On the fate of the competency-based curriculum, CS Machogu says that the government, through the Ministry of Education, will consider the opinions expressed from the different education stakeholders about the curriculum.
The initial report of CPC will be handed over to His Excellency the President, and thereafter an announcement will be made where the grade 7 and 8 will be domiciled. That will not come from me. Once His Excellency the President is given that report, is when Kenyans will be informed.
KCPE candidates will sit for their exam between 28th November and 1st December to pave way for KCSE candidates who will write their first paper on 1st December and complete their exam on 23rd December. And KPSEA candidates will write their summative assessment from 28th November to 30th November. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Now moving on, fake Dr. James Mugondishu, alias Mugo Wairimu, has been found guilty of operating a medical clinic illegally and unlawfully administering drugs to patients at his clinic in 2015. Here's more.
Substances in the clinic.
Appearing before Chief Magistrate Wendy Micheni at the Milimani Law Courts, Ndichu was found guilty of operating an illegal medical facility, practicing as an unregistered and an unlicensed person, among 8 other offences. Consequently, the court acquitted him on 2 counts of rape and employing an unregistered laboratory technician.
Accused person is acquitted in counts number 1, that is rape. It was the employment, since that was not adequately proved, but is however convicted in counts number 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 as appears in the charge sheet. He is convicted under section 215 of the Criminal Procedure Code.
The court said prosecution failed to prove 3 main ingredients of rape beyond reasonable doubt to permit a conviction. According to Magistrate Micheni, the court required oral evidence from the alleged victim, sufficient circumstantial evidence, and DNA sample tests, which were never provided in court by the prosecution. Mugo, in mitigation, pleaded to be given time to avail his medical documents which would support his mitigation in search for lenient sentence, while at the same time claimed that he did not recognize the woman accusing him of rape. The court allowed his application and adjourned the case to November 21, 2022 for mitigation and sentencing. The name Mugo Wairimu first hit the headlines in 2014 when, in an expose aired by one of the national media houses, portrayed alleged misconduct by the doctor, with patients coming out to claim the doctor gave them an unknown drug and later abused them sexually. He was then arrested and charged with rape and operating an illegal clinic in Githurai 44 in 2015, but he was back again in 2018 with a new clinic in Kayole with a new identity and social media platforms. He was arrested in Gashie, Kiambu County again, but was later released for lack of evidence. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
Now tonight we can reveal the country's representatives to the East Africa Legislative Assembly. This after a day of defiance and surprises that saw MPs vote in solidarity in the Senate and the National Assembly. Mount Kenya members of Parliament defied a State House Parliamentary Group meeting resolution on Wednesday to vote in Maina Karobia instead of Frederick Muteti, who put up a spirited fight but was shot down on account of gender balance, with Iman Falhada bagging the slot. There were surprises in the Azimio camp, with Winnie Odinga and Coast businessman Suleiman Shebal making their way to the list. In the country's lineup of 9 to the Regional Assembly, Kenya Kwanza's 5 representatives voted by MPs today include Hassan Omar with 251 votes, Zipporah Kering with 222 votes, David Sangok with 217 votes, Maina Karobia 208 votes, Iman Falhada 181 votes, and in the Azimio La Umoja camp, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka's son Kennedy Musyoka garnered 260 votes, followed by Azimio Party leader Raila Odinga's daughter Winnie with 246 votes. Former Kieni MP Kanini Kega also managed to secure an EALA seat with 191 votes, while Coast businessman Suleiman Shebal closed the Azimio list with 183 votes.
Allow me to take this opportunity to first thank all the members of the 13th Assembly for the otherwise peaceful conduct of this election. Honorable Speaker, also to congratulate in a special way all the 15 nominees from the Kenya Kwanza Coalition and the 12 nominees from the Azimio Coalition who presented themselves for election to EALA this year, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also congratulate the 9 successful candidates, and particularly, Honorable Speaker, I take note that the Honorable Kennedy Musyoka Kalonzo, or Kalonzo Musyoka, who served in the previous assembly in EALA, Honorable Speaker, in line with the request that had been put to this assembly and our country to safeguard the institutional memory of the EALA Assembly, the election of Kennedy Musyoka indeed serves that particular purpose to ensure that we have institutional memory as a country in our representation in EALA, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, just like with any other election, elections come with a lot of divisions, and I am sure and certain, Honorable Speaker, even this election was not any different.
Madam Speaker, I also want to specifically congratulate the people who have been elected on behalf of my party, Honorable Winnie Odinga and Honorable Suleiman Shebal, who I'm sure will immensely help this country to develop economically in the East African region, Madam Speaker. I also want to congratulate other members who have been elected in the other side of the coalition, Honorable Hassan Omar and Honorable Falhada, and all Honorable Kalonzo, who is from our party, and Honorable Karini Kega. I want to mention them by name because those are my friends. But Madam Speaker, the hero of this election today is Honorable Geoffrey Maina Karobia. Madam Speaker, this is a young man who was rejected, Madam Speaker. He was rejected by his coalition that he does not deserve to go to that parliament, Madam Speaker.
Well, that is Junet Mohammed, Honorable Junet Mohammed, and of course the House Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah congratulating the successful candidates. And I do understand that they also spoke to members of the press just a few moments ago. Let's have a listen in.
Let me start by thanking God for this important trust He's bestowed on myself and my new colleagues. And I also want to thank you on behalf of my committee who are worried that they will miss their chair. But I want to thank the great people of Kenya through their representatives in both houses for the overwhelming support led by both our Speaker of the Senate and the Assembly, as well as the minority and majority leaders and all the people who've campaigned for me. My words will be very few. It's just to welcome the new members, and I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot more of us. So just to thank everyone and wish you all a good evening. Thank you. Well, at least I'll be the institutional memory. Last time I had the pleasure of working with some of my wonderful colleagues, like the chair of the coordinating committee, Mheshimiwa Wanjiku, and I was able to learn a lot from all of them. So now it's my turn to give back to the new members, and I hope even going forward we'll have more institutional memory and more young people as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me also take this opportunity, first and foremost, to thank God. If it were not for God, I wouldn't actually be standing here to address this media. I also want to thank my family so much, being represented by my daughter, who is around here, for the support, emotional support, financial support for me to run up and down. And also, I want to thank my Kenya Kwanza government through His Excellency, our President, William Samoei Ruto, for giving us an opportunity to have a fair field for all of us to be elected to this East African Legislative Assembly. I want to say thank you. I want to thank all members of Parliament for both houses, Senate and the National Assembly, and more specifically, members of Parliament from my county, Nandi, being led by Mheshimiwa Honorable Meli. I am here with Mheshimiwa Paul Bieko from Chesumei representing the rest, for really holding me and telling the members who Zipporah Kering is. So I want to say I have this opportunity to go and represent Kenya in East Africa. Having the 5 years experience of legislation in the National Assembly, I feel that I will be able to really legislate in the East African Assembly. We have the 4 pillars, and that is what we'll be driving on. The first and the second one has already been implemented, and that is why we are saying for most of us who have been legislators here, I am sure we will drive the agenda representing our country at its best. And I want to assure you, we have a youth with us here. We will mentor him. He's never been a member of Parliament, but I want to believe after the 5 years, he will sit in this house to legislate and to represent all the youth in this country, so that we also see them as people who can represent us. Otherwise, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, members of Parliament. And I want to say I will do my best in EALA and to make Kenya proud. Thank you so much.
Political federation, you need to strive to ensure that we have that political federation. You have to unite all the nation to have political federation.
Of course, those are the newly elected members of the East African Legislative Assembly, of course, reacting to their victory. Moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has directed the State Department for Interior to work towards realizing the chiefs across the country are equipped with at least 5 police officers to help them execute their duties, especially in maintaining law and order in the village level. And he also revealed that the chiefs will be required to come up with a service charter and service register, respectively, as of December 1st, which will have the objective to ensure that accountability in the public service office is realized.
Of President Ruto's tour of the coastal region on Friday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki this evening made an impromptu tour at the Mtopa's chief camp to inspect their working conditions and get a review of the security situation in the region. Kindiki has promised to relook on the chiefs' welfare and ensure better working conditions, citing that it will motivate them to deliver on their respective dockets.
One of the things we want to ensure is that every chief and every assistant chief has a good office. We will collaborate with the members of Parliament and other leaders to ensure that either through CDF or through other government funds that are available, we are able to build good offices for our chiefs and assistant chiefs so that they can serve the people.
In addition, his ministry is committed to assign at least 5 police officers to every chief's camp by January next year to curb cases of instability and ensure smooth operations at the villages.
We would want to work towards that effective 1st January 2022 to ensure that chiefs are enabled to enforce law and order, even as much as the police also continue working in the normal way.
The CS also directed that all chiefs should have a service charter mounted outside their offices to display their duties and services as stipulated in the Constitution. This is to happen from December 1st.
So that wananchi can know what services are offered by the chief, the timelines taken to deliver that service, And if that service requires the payment of government fees, how much it is. We will also be expecting the chiefs to have service registers which can be inspected by their seniors within the ranks. The service register will record, what the chief does on a daily basis, the kind of services they offer, and this will enhance accountability and openness within this service delivery point.
On matters security, he has assured that deployment of peacekeepers will continue across the country, mainly in insecure-prone areas, while insisting that his ministry will not take guns lightly. Kindiki is expected to accompany President William Ruto tomorrow during his Kwale and Mombasa tour, where he will be touring Samburu, Kinango constituency and Dongokundu Likoni constituency. Paul Munio, TV 47, Mombasa County.
Well, time now for a very short break. We'll be right back after this short break.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
It is the week.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Shhh. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Looking for business ideas to inspire your innovation?
I'm an artist, but I mostly consider myself as a creative entrepreneur because I'm into this to make money.
Looking for business trends that will help inform your decisions?
Right now, the primary problem is you're experiencing rising interest rates. So this is sucking out money from all economies at the same time.
Well,
this is The Grind,
where we provide a voice for your business and we bring the entrepreneurial culture to your home. See you every Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
It is the right of every Kenyan to own a shelter. Now take us to the types that are possibly available within our locality.
We have different shades of mabati. We have the green, as you can see, this green, glossy and green matte.
We are in the forefront on sheltering Kenyans, and this is not only in apartments, even on plots.
We have aggregated this whole platform to include suppliers of all construction materials.
The Realtor on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. A court in Kiambu County has set free John Mukiriria, a farmhand involved in Rwanda-based businessman George Mwangi murder probe. John Mukiriria Mwangi, who reportedly went missing on the same day the 58-year-old businessman was murdered, was arrested 2 weeks ago at Karinga location in Gatundu South. The Kiambu Court Principal Magistrate Marisa Opondo set Mukiriria free after the prosecution said he had been turned into a state witness. He had worked at the home of the couple for 4 years and allegedly failed to return home after he was sent to deposit some money on M-Pesa. Mwangi now becomes a state witness in the case in which Chania, who is the prime suspect and remanded at the Langata Women's Prison, is set to appear before the court on November 29th this year. The investigating officer, Peter Kamau, has however assured the court that Mwangi will be safe after having been set free. Now, as Kenya joins the world in marking World Prematurity Day, the medical personnel from the neonatal care unit are now calling on respective parents to embrace the new kangaroo mode of care, which will help strengthen the bond between them and their children, while also enhancing the child's survival and well-being. The world continues to record a high number of children born too early, with the number of mortality also high. Our health reporter Elizabeth Atieno visited the Nairobi hospital, where some parents raising premature children were able to narrate their journey and file this report.
It is the wish of every mother to give birth to a healthy child, but unfortunately, over 15 million mothers every year do not get a chance to embrace this, since their babies are born before 37 weeks of pregnancy are completed.
She was very tiny. I could only compare her with remember those days when you were young and they could show us photos of kids who are malnourished in, I think, Ethiopia. That's how my baby looked. Very bad. But I remember I had a song for her. I used to sing, "My beautiful, beautiful baby." And my friends would laugh. They were wondering what kind of a beautiful baby is this.
I thank this sister. Alini-encourage more. Because me nilikuwa nimesema sasa doli siwezi nikalea doli. After kulea watoto watatu wazuri, sasa wanne anakuja kama doli siwezi nikalea.
Not any mother pregnant would imagine at any one time they will deliver a preterm baby. But they come, they happen, and now you have to pick up and move on.
Joyce Muraya is the mother to 34-year-old Jesse Muraya, who was born as a preterm baby. Little did she know that history would again repeat itself, as her grandchild born 1 week ago is also a preterm baby.
It was our second born. Soon after that, by the time he was 2, we had our third born, and subsequent to that, our fourth born. But there were relatives who said that he was spoiled, but there was a sense of his preciousness, his specialness, because of where he had come from. And so I think this is more of a temperamental thing.
So yes, I was born as a premature at around 32 weeks, and it's been a journey of I guess, faith, because that's something that I know a lot of my family continues to tell me, that it's been a very, very long but very joyous journey in terms of just looking at how I've grown all the way from when I was young to at this stage.
Approximately 1 million children die every year due to complication of preterm births. Many surviving babies face a lifetime of disability, including learning disabilities, visual and hearing problems. Jesse tells us he was no exception.
When I was much younger, sometimes I'd feel like maybe in terms of education-wise, I wasn't quite up to par with a lot of my peers. But that is something that, as I grew older, I learned to learn my strengths, and it's something that I was able to overcome.
In Trans Nzoia County, not less than 7 babies are born premature every month. Some mothers now say the situation has led to broken marriages since their husbands struggle to come to terms with their children's physique.
Kama mama, niko na watoto 4, na kwa hao watoto 4 sijawahi kuwa na premature, but huyu wa 4 ndio nikapata hiyo premature, ikafanya hata ndoa yangu ikaribika, kwa sababu mzee aliniambia huyu mtoto si wangu.
Medical personnel from the neonatal care and the World Health Organization are urging mothers to embrace the kangaroo mother care, which they say will help strengthen the bond between the mother and the child, while also increasing the chances of the child's survival and well-being.
Do kangaroo care. Hata kama unatembea nyumbani unapika, bado unatembea na mtoto wako kwa kifua. They feel the closeness, they feel warm. They, in a way, wanaanza kuongeza weight and feel them, breastfeeding. Very important. Breastfeeding, your mom's milk, that is the best milk.
There are various subcategories of preterm births based on gestational age, where we have the extremely preterm babies who are born before 28 weeks of pregnancy. The very preterm babies, on the other hand, are born before 28 to 32 weeks of pregnancy, while the moderate to late preterm are born before 32 to 37 weeks of pregnancy.
I'm a father to a baby who was born at 28 weeks, and he was born in August 2020, and so now he's 2 years, 3 months old. So the journey was difficult, especially in the first few months, because you don't know what to expect. It's a huge emotional journey.
Babies may be born preterm because of spontaneous preterm labor or or due to an early cesarean section as suggested by a doctor.
When you're born preterm, what I will say is that mothers just need to remember that these babies have been born before their time. So certain things are not yet up to speed, they're not yet ready. And certain organs haven't yet reached the maturity that a term baby will have achieved. So we need to have them enrolled in these neonatal clinics for follow-ups.
In order to prevent preterm births, the World Health Organization now recommends healthy pregnancy for expectant women through interventions such as counseling on healthy diet, optimal nutrition, and early ultrasound to help determine gestational age during pregnancy. Some of the notable individuals born as preterm babies include American music legend Stevie Wonder, physicist Albert Einstein, and former UK Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Now, cases of snake bites have been on the rise in Baringo County, with many victims losing eyesight and ending up disabled. The Kenya Medical Training College in Kabarnet has initiated a program to address the situation. Collins Lusweti with more.
Baringo County has continued to register a high number of snake bites, with many victims ending up being disabled. In 2022 alone, 387 people in the county have suffered snake bites, with 6 dying. Tropical diseases in the area are also on the rise.
Nikajaribu kusukuma mguu itoke kwa eneo la hatari, alafu nikamulika torch. Kumulika torch nikaona mguu inatoa damu na iko na mashimo yenye imetobolewa.
Katika Baringo County kutoka January 2022 mpaka saa September 2022, 387 people wamepata kuumwa na nyoka.
In a bid to address the situation, Kenya Medical Training College in Kabarnet has initiated plans to introduce a curriculum that will train students on tackling tropical diseases and snake bites in the area.
And what we want to look at now is going to directly the process of training needs assessment. And that will help us know exactly which are these tropical diseases that we want to target.
Tiati and Baringo Centro are the most affected areas, registering high number of cases. The areas have experienced long droughts, leading to increase of snakes in the region. Deputy Governor Felix Mayo says the county will work in collaboration with the institution.
Able to procure drugs to be able to serve those regions. That's the antivenom specifically, which is common in North Baringo, Tiati, and generally the whole of Baringo. It's not really specific those areas. We've been able to procure them, and we have them in stock. It's for us only to disperse to the dispensaries and the health centers.
World Health Organization has previously indicated that snakebite is a neglected public health issue despite its severe effects. Collins Lusweti, TV 47.
Now, the government says it is closing in on employers who fail to deliver their employees' SACCO remittances. This emerged during a 2-day cooperatives conference in Naivasha led by CA Simon Chelugui. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njiru with the story.
Speaking during a 2-day national cooperative conference in Naivasha, CS Cooperatives and Micro and Small Enterprises Simon Chelugui said the government is putting in place measures to deliberately boost cooperatives and micro-medium enterprises, which will in turn boost the economy.
We have opportunities in the farming, and through the cooperative movement, we can assure the nation of food security, we can assure the nation of raw materials, and we can assure the nation money in the pockets of the people at the bottom of the pyramid.
Then we are saying we want Kenya to process coffee and sell it as a Kenyan coffee brand, because we know Kenya produces the best coffee in the world, and yet our farmers are least paid. You know, when you go outside the country, a teaspoon, just 1 cup of coffee, will cost you up to 750 shillings. And yet a whole coffee farmer with 1 kilo, he is getting less than 100 shillings.
Despite numerous challenges that have adversely affected the sector, the team here is inspired by the opportunities in the cooperative sectors, more so in agriculture.
They have had challenges in the dairy sector, but we can grow this sector to 3 million liters per day. We can go back in our coffee production to 140,000 metric tons from the 40,000 we are.
We want to increase our production from 3 kilos per tree to over 7 kilos per tree. We have the potential. The government has promised us to give us fertilizers, and the research has shown that we now have new varieties of seedlings that can be able to give us even up to 18 kilos of harvest per tree.
The CS used the platform to call out employers who fail to remit their employees' SACCO deductions, saying their days are numbered.
Now, I've asked the Commissioner of Cooperative, who is empowered by law, to take action, stand action to protect our SACCOs.
In the recent months, there has been a significant reduction in the number of remittances from 3 billion to 2.3 billion shillings, despite the number of those joining the SACCOs increasing to 14 billion.
We've clustered all unremitted funds. Any employer, whether agriculture, whether a government, whether private, who owes workers money, is by law supposed to remit that money.
We are telling the government we are capable to increase that. What we need is the market, help us to process our coffee, and encourage our Kenyans to consume more coffee. And the goodwill we are seeing from the government, we are really prepared to increase production in dairy, in coffee, and and we are going strongly back now to cotton.
Reporting for TV 47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiro.
Well, thank you very much for that, Willie Dennis Njiro. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says that the government will ramp up efforts to clean up Nairobi River in a bid to restore the nature of the river after years of neglect. The second-in-command confirmed that he is porting up a team that will be expected to work on the restoration, after which it will file a report on findings and other recommendations. Gachagua was speaking when he met representatives of 25 United Nations agencies at his office, saying the Kenya Kwanza administration is keen on ensuring the river that cuts through the capital city is clean.
In fact, yesterday, I had a Zoom conference with the Executive Director of UNEP, and our ambassador is here. I've given our timelines. We are trying to put up a team with terms of reference. In the by next week, that commission will be gazetted. It's a huge undertaking in matters cleaning the river and settlement, because people have to be relocated, but they have to be given an alternative source of livelihood. So we'll need the support of the UN family, UNEP, Habitat, and all of you. And we are seeking your help. I discussed with the ED yesterday, and the ambassador here is working on it. We want your agencies to be involved in that Nairobi River Commission. But we'll be asking for the UN family to mobilize for us funds, resources, and expertise to restore Nairobi River and create livelihood out of that river along the way.
Let's now get the latest in the world of business. Tea directors from Zone 5 in Kirinyaga County have told politicians to stop politicizing tea farmers' issues and inciting farmers against KTDA. The directors, led by John Midamo, said that farmers have been receiving subsidized fertilizer as given by the government, and there is no farmer who has been taken advantage of. Speaking in Kerugoya, Midamo said that political class should seek any information regarding tea issues from the directors and not inciting farmers.
Kumekuwa na mambo mingi, watu wakisema fertilizer ambayo tumepewa subsidy na serikali inauzwa 6,000. Hiyo ni uongo, kwa sababu fertilizer inakatangwa kwa mkulima direct. Kwa hivyo mkulima wote anajua factory yake ni pesa ngapi, fertilizer ni pesa ngapi. Hiyo ingine, hawa wanasiasa, tafadhali ukiongea mambo ya majani chai, hawa directors wako hapa ndio wamesimamia majani chai Kirinyaga Zone 5. wakitaka kuuliza swali waache kwenda kwa media, waite directors wakae chini waongee.
The issue of 0.51 kg, it is neither here nor there. For anybody to understand about that issue, he must come to the table to really study the trend of how bonus rates are announced, or how factories reach at the bonus rates.
To recover all what has been lost to our farmers. Tunangangana hata tunafanya census ya GPLS ya vikingi za majani chai, so that each farmer can be accounted for how much tea can produce per stem. Ndio to eliminate kilo zingine tunazemanga za baridi.
Moving on, the Kenya Development Corporation, KDC, a state corporation under the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, has held a consultative meeting with stakeholders of funders, investors and other players in the financing value chain. The move was aimed at exploring opportunities for partnerships through shared commitment to the growth and development of the business landscape in Kenya and beyond. Have a look.
So as an entity or government entity, appear to be an enduring feature of the economic landscape, because again we have to support the government to endure the difficult economic landscape that we are in, and we want to remain an influential force globally, locally and globally, for many years to come. As such, it is essential to ensure that through KDC we deliver the societal outcomes desired. We are confident that through partnerships and support from various stakeholders, KDC will play an important role in addressing critical gaps for long-term funding and address market failures in target sectors. And please speak the word market failures is critical component of the performance of our economy.
We shall also ensure that the organization upholds global quality management standards, compliance with prudential standards and guidelines applicable to DFIs as recommended by local regulatory agencies and the Association of African Development Finance Institutions, AADFI, where we are members. And above all, ensure that KDC becomes the leading financial partner driving Kenya's progress and prosperity.
Well, let's get now to your favorite segment on Kenyan TV right now. Now, violent robberies have been on the increase recently, with top government officials holding security meetings to contain the situation. This has also led to the spread of misinformation and disinformation, with many Kenyans taking to social media to share video clips and images of the robberies. Now, a video circulating online of a man being robbed by a gang in broad daylight sparked outrage in the country, with Kenyans urging the police to act. The video was posted with a claim that it shows criminals operating freely in the CBD. Notably in the video, the victim is shoved and kicked to the ground before he is assaulted in that mob attack. According to Africa Check, a reverse image search of a screenshot from the video leads to a news article on a Guyanese website. Guyana is a country in South America. The article, published on 10th of February this year, is titled "CCTV Footage Helps Cops to Nab 2 Choke and Rob Bandits." Now, it reports that the incident took place in Georgetown, the country's capital, and that the suspects were later arrested and charged. So that did not happen in Nairobi as purported. Although we urge you to stay safe, because it's true, violent robberies have been on the rise. That has been this week's The Fact Checker. Welcome to the latest in the world of sports. Kenya is expected to take part in the World Esports Championships in Istanbul, Turkey from the 14th to 17th of December this year, as esports continues to gain momentum in the country and is now incorporated into the Ministry of Sports as one of the emerging disciplines. The gamers, however, led by team manager Ronnie Lusigi, have called on the government to support the team financially to help them acquire sufficient equipment so as to register good results in the games. Our sports reporter Dennis Otieno caught up with the team while in training camp and filed the following report.
At first glance, one might think these are university students casually browsing their computers. Until you notice the incessant clicking they do on their mice and keyboards. Then one's attention is drawn into the screens, where you realize they're taking part in esports. This is the national esports team that is training ahead of the World Esports Championships in Istanbul, Turkey. The World Esports Championships are slated to begin from 14th to 17th of December this year, and Kenya will be taking part in 3 categories of games, including eFootball of the Pro Evolution Soccer PES, Street Fighter 5 on the PlayStation 5, and Dota 2 on the PC category. Shali Adema, Yvonne Nkatha, Elina Kemunto, Barbara Muash, Maria Kiuru and Magdalene Mumbi will represent Kenya in the Dota 2 game, where they will face off with Argentina, New Zealand, Great Britain, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia and Turkey, as they remain optimistic of emerging victorious despite having to train under challenging conditions.
The confidence comes with the amount of training that we do, and therefore yes, we do, because we do quite a good amount of training day in, day out. So I am confident in our team.
The ladies have also encouraged other girls to take part in esports and shun the perception that it is a male-dominated industry, since they can venture into it and make a living out of it.
They shouldn't think of this field as gaming is for men, it's boyish. You can still be a gamer, you can do anything else. The beauty with esports is it's flexible.
Meanwhile, Evander Maina will be Kenya's only representative in eFootball, and he expressed his confidence in registering good results.
Something worth to be looked at. It's something worth to be looked at. It's, I think, one of the biggest, untapped industries that we have here in Kenya. Just like music, but this is untapped. So, and it has a greater potential. So I would urge him to actually invest in esports.
Team Kenya Esports manager Ronnie Lusigi has called on the government to support the team financially and to help them acquire sufficient equipment so as to register good results in the games.
Commitment level, the discipline level in the team has been very high, but we could take it a notch higher by having sponsors to assist the team in things like the training camp, things like the equipment. You see, not all the equipments that they are using are of the same category. It should be good to have everyone using high-end equipment. It assists in the performance of the players. So, but basically, you can't doubt their skill, you can't doubt their commitment and their passion to represent their country.
Kenya will also come up against other African teams that qualified for the games, including Ghana, Nigeria, Libya, Tunisia, Namibia, Djibouti and Somalia, as they look to dominate the continent. Dennis Otieno, TV47 Sports.
Thank you, Dennis Otieno, for that. Now, FKF Premier League matches between Mathare United versus Posta Rangers and Vihiga Bullets versus Wazito have been postponed from taking place this weekend as it was scheduled to. In a letter signed by FKF Secretary General Barry Otieno, the letter indicated that the decision comes following an order by the Sports Tribunal regarding the FKF National Executive Committee on promotion and relegation decision on the 2021-2022 season. The letter also indicated that the other matches will not be affected and will take place as they were scheduled. Now, Grand Nairobi bike race earlier today received a major boost after partnering with the Jubilee Insurance ahead of the Jubilee Live Free race scheduled to take place at the KICC. The cycling enthusiast will have a competitive race which has attracted over 1,000 cyclists from the East African community and will race in 5 different categories. The event will also provide a platform to advocate for mental and physical wellness.
The race will give our stakeholders and the communities we serve an opportunity to distress, exercise and socialize while engaging in a fun and competitive race. We believe this is a critical step in advancing good health and well-being. So besides physical activity, the Jubilee Live Free race will also enable participants to receive free wellness and health checks during the event.
The first category was main individual. Then we have the main race team, where a team comprises of 6 members, 3 ladies and 3 gents. And then we have the main race under 23. They have their own category. And then we have the main race veterans. These are for 40 years and older. And out of the 1,000, close to 1,000 participants, we'll be awarding almost 100 people on the day.
FIFA World Cup 2022 sponsors Coca-Cola earlier today flagged off 4 winners flying to Qatar to attend and experience the live matches in a bid to enhance customer experience in this year's World Cup. Speaking at the flag-off event, Coca-Cola Marketing Director Isabel Karaoke stated that the company shares in the passion their consumers have for football, which is one of the reasons why they have partnered with the FIFA World Cup since 1974. As one of the ticket winners, Duncan Omalo expressed his excitement after winning the ticket to attend the world's most prestigious tournaments.
To bringing football fans closer to the magic of the beautiful game.
Yeah, in a